This is ABC News with David Rowlands. Greater Sydney's lockdown is set to be extended by 4 weeks in light of the state's current COVID-19 crisis. Madeline Cross reports.
The extension means the lockdown will be lengthened until at least August 28, despite being due to lift this Friday. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian will make the announcement this morning after a crisis cabinet meeting. The plan is likely to include rapid antigen testing, which can produce results in between 15 and 30 minutes as part of an expanded surveillance testing. The state government is also considering a singles bubble, which will allow people living alone to nominate a designated person to visit. Greater Sydney and its surrounding areas have now been subjected to stay-at-home orders since June 26.
However, there is better news for the residents of Victoria who have just emerged from their snap 1-week lockdown as of midnight, while South Australia is half an hour away from doing likewise. Some restrictions will remain in place in both states, though. Epidemiologist Nancy Baxter from Melbourne University's School of Population and Global Health says Victoria is able to emerge from lockdown because the state government moved quickly.
What became clear in Victoria very quickly was that, it had spread quite far by the time it was identified. So it kind of forced the hand of the Victorian government in terms of shutting down. That turns out that was actually a fortunate thing in some ways because, it really allowed them to get the situation under control quickly.
Western Australian Health Minister Roger Cook says a COVID breach at a Perth hospital that's forced 2 unvaccinated staff members into hotel quarantine is inexcusable. The 2 staff members entered a lift at the hospital after 3 infected crew from a cargo ship who had been confirmed to have the virus. Mr Cook says the breach simply isn't good enough.
We are very clear about our instructions that all COVID protocols needed to be followed to reduce the risk to the Western Australian community. The Premier and I have requested a full review of the incident to ensure this does not happen again.
Share prices in mainland China and Hong Kong have fallen sharply as concern grows among investors about Beijing's plans for stricter regulation in different parts of the economy. Hong Kong's main Hang Seng index fell by more than 4%. Shares for Chinese companies listed in the United States were also down. The Chinese government is in the middle of a campaign to rein in some of its biggest technology firms. It's also brought in tighter regulations for the private education sector and food delivery services. Tunisia's biggest political party, Ennahda, has called for dialogue following President Kais Saied's sacking of the Prime Minister and suspension of Parliament on Sunday. The party has also told its supporters not to take part in demonstrations. Earlier, the party accused President Saied of staging a coup, while he insists he has acted within his rights at a time of crisis. The American Secretary of State Antony Blinken will touch down in India in the coming hours, where he's expected to raise human rights and regional issues. The BBC's Daniel Johnson has more.
This is Antony Blinken's first visit to India as Secretary of State. And under the Biden presidency, the US seems prepared to quietly take a stronger line over suppression of human rights and democracy. The shared values of both countries are being emphasised, but Narendra Modi's government faces allegations it's pursued divisive policies designed to appeal to its Hindu nationalist base, whilst curtailing the rights of Indian Muslims. Officials confirmed Mr Blinken will raise those issues when he meets the Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister in Delhi on Wednesday.
Officials from a German chemical plant say they've recovered a body after an explosion at their site in Western Germany. At least 16 people are injured and 4 remain missing following the accident in the city of Leverkusen. The blast was followed by a fire at a fuel depot in the landfill and incineration areas of the site. Images on social media show a huge column of dark smoke rising from Chem Park, an industrial area for the chemicals industry. Turning to sport now, and at the Olympic Games, Olympic champion Simone Biles has withdrawn from the team gymnastics final in Tokyo. USA Gymnastics says the 24-year-old pulled out of the event due to an unspecified medical issue. Biles' shock exit from the competition is a huge blow to the American team, which is vying for a 3rd straight Olympic title. This is ABC News.